Welcome back to another edition of the Press Box. We're all back from winter break. We got a new studio space, a new logo, and as you can see, I'm joined by three anchors today: Alex Kaczynski, Brentaro Yamane, Camden Euler, and I myself am Luke Henny. We're all very excited to be together for the first time, and you know what that means. It's time to talk Super Bowl. We finally made it. Very tumultuous NFL season, but they got through it. We're finally ready for the big game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're ready to take a look at the teams, who we think's going to win, and so forth. So we're ready to get it rolling. Now, among many people, this could be perceived as maybe the most anticipated Super Bowl within the past half decade to 10 years. Two superstar teams with generational quarterbacks. So, Brentaro, why don't you talk to us about the magnitude of this game and how important it is for the sport?
Yeah, so guys, I've been living for like 20 years, and this is like the most anticipated Super Bowl in my opinion. This is the most hyped I've ever been to watch a Super Bowl. We got Patrick Mahomes, we got Tom Brady, we got the future of the NFL and Patrick Mahomes, and we literally have one of the greatest quarterbacks in all time in Tom Brady facing off in Tampa Bay at Tom Brady's home. I mean, you got to think about this. This is the first time ever in the Super Bowl era that a home team is going to be hosting the Super Bowl, and it's just going to be unreal. Like, there's superstars on like all the teams. We got Antonio Brown for the Buccaneers, Rob Gronkowski playing in another Super Bowl, this time with the Buccaneers. You also have Leonard Fournette, who came from Jacksonville last year, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Then you think about Kansas City star players and Tyreek Hill and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then Chris Jones and Sammy Watkins too. I can keep going I can go on all day with them. There's just so many superstars. As of right now, tickets are being sold for like close to $6,000. I checked this morning; it was like $5,900. Like, so many people who have a lot of money will be at that game. We have CBS covering the game as well. Tony Romo will be covering his second Super Bowl. The first time was when he was announced in the Patriots Rams game back in 2019. Literally, guys, it's just like you're seeing two generations of quarterbacks in Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady though. And for all of us growing up though, we just from all the NFL games we watch, we're like, oh, okay, like Tom Brady, he's like really good and all that though.
Right.
And now you have this younger generation of kids, like say in primary school or intermediate school, who are just starting to watch the game of football, and they're like, "Oh man, Patrick Mahomes, like he's so talented. Like he can throw without looking the football. He's like a dual threat quarterback, can run, can pass with the football as well." Though, so we're really just seeing true talent as well, though. But one thing I want to talk about as well, though, about this game though, is about Tampa Bay and what they're dealing with right now. They've won four their last loss, I should say, was against Kansas City back in week 12 when they lost 27-24 though. They kind of let the game out of hand early on when they were down 17-0 at the end of the first quarter and 20-7 at halftime. And even though Tampa Bay was able to come back, make it a game, Mike Evans had two receiving touchdowns in the second half. I think two in the fourth quarter, but definitely two in the second half though. But for them in this game, what I just feel like they cannot like be down early, be down like really big early, like 17-0. Like it's just so hard to like try and come back for that though. It's like the same. I can compare that game to like the 2018 AFC divisional round between the Jaguars and Steelers though. Like the Jaguars were trailing 20. I'm not the Jaguars. The Jaguars were up 21-0, and then the Steelers got back in it though, but the Steelers couldn't do much after that though. But yeah, Tyreek Hill had like 269 receiving yards in the game. That have, you just can't have a superstar just like take over a game like that. And that's what Tyreek Hill did. Though Mike Evans, though, he took over in the second half, but Tyreek Hill literally dominated the whole game. Though you think about COVID-19 implications and all that, though, there's the whole stadium, Raymond James Stadium, isn't going to be filled though. But you think about, okay, what type of fans will be there? Will most of them, or at least half of them, be from Florida, or would we get like a good representation of the whole country being at the game though? So you think about for Tampa Bay, this is kind of like another home game. This is a rematch game. This is a game in which you got to prove to everybody that this is the game that we should actually win that. Who cares about week 12? It's just a regular season. It was just a regular season game. That the time is now. For Tom Brady, he has everything to prove right now. I bet all three of you just wonder, well, when New England won 6 Super Bowls, who actually do we give credit to? Maybe we give credit to both Belichick or Brady, or do we just give credit to one or the other right now? And I think we can all agree right now that if Tampa Bay does win the Super Bowl on Sunday, then we all have to think to ourselves that, well, Tom Brady is actually the greatest of all time. He actually did most of the work, and I shouldn't say like we should disrespect Belichick though, but we should just have that question in our minds like, well, maybe we should actually just give Brady more credit though.
Yeah.
But then again, you have Patrick Mahomes though for Kansas City though. He just, from the games I've seen him play, he just knows how to come back in like the fourth quarter as well. Though Tom Brady can as well. That's why both of them are so special and good though. But talking about tying this into Pittsburgh real quick though, before I let you guys talk about Kansas City and Tampa Bay though. Two players that will be in the Super Bowl this year are Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Justin Watson and Kansas City offensive lineman Stephon Wisniewski though. And what's really special about both of those players is that they really grew up with each other. They both went to South Fayette High School, which is 20 minutes south from here. They grew up on the same street, Wood Creek Drive in Bridgeville, PA. And the fact that they would exercise with each other and then run up and down hills, they would practice football with each other on South Fayette's football field. They had dreams of playing in the Super Bowl, though. Stephon Wisniewski obviously has won 2 Super Bowls already, though. But for Justin Watson, this is his first, though. So, and their families are like really close too. And the fact that both players are going to face off against each other, like that's just really special. That's just like, you just don't hear stories like that every single day. So that's just something that we should all pay attention to there, though, because I wouldn't be surprised at all if their families host a Super Bowl party. Continuing tying with Pittsburgh roots now, 2 players that will also be playing in their first Super Bowl are Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Antonio Brown and Kansas City Chiefs running back Le'Veon Bell. A lot of Steelers fans know that those 2 players throughout their times in Pittsburgh caused a lot of drama, probably gave the Steelers more attention that they shouldn't have received off the field though. But it's just ironic though, just to see both of those players, one of them at the end of the day on Sunday will actually be a Super Bowl champion. And you just think to yourselves, if you're a Steelers fan, like, well, they're going to the Super Bowl. We've had Big Ben Roethlisberger for almost 2 decades now. We just start to think to ourselves like, well, were they really the problem? Or is Ben Roethlisberger the problem? Is the whole Steelers the problem? No, but that's just something to think about them. Yeah. But for me personally, I really like both of those players. I like them when they were in Pittsburgh. I don't think they're as good and with the respective teams that they are playing for, though. But I just wish them the best, though. And it's just going to be great to see which one of them wins the Super Bowl, though. So, Luke, tell me more about Tampa Bay and what we expect to see from them on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure, Brentaro. Being that we are in Pittsburgh, I know that a lot of people have hard feelings toward Tom Brady, and rightfully so. New England and Pittsburgh were a big rivalry for the better part of the past 2 decades. So I can see why people don't like him, but you surely have to respect him. This is his 10th Super Bowl appearance. He's won 6 of them, and in the 3 that he's lost, they've all been 1-score losses. So he's never been blown out in a Super Bowl. As I mentioned, he's won 6. And for those instances, he was the MVP. So it's not like he was riding on the defense to get him that victory. I think that was best exemplified by the 28-3 comeback they had in 2017 against the Falcons. Without Brady's offense, and of course, Julian Edelman's spectacular catch, there's no chance they come back and win that game. And now we perceive it as maybe the greatest game in the past 10 years in terms of Super Bowls. You really have to respect what he's done in getting to the Super Bowl, in addition to the fact that he's been there so many times. You mentioned the idea of a home Super Bowl. It is the first in the history of the National Football League. That's hard to believe. The Super Bowl's been going for almost 60 years now. And like you said, it won't be the same with the atmosphere. We're looking at about 17,000 people in a stadium as opposed to maybe 70,000. But for many years, when he was in the playoffs with the New England Patriots, they were always a 1 or 2 seed with home games guaranteed in the playoffs at Gillette Stadium. So I don't see any reason why Raymond James Stadium couldn't be different for the Super Bowl. Now, I did see a press release a couple days ago that the league would not permit the Buccaneers to shoot off their touchdown cannons, which I get. They're trying to protect the neutrality of a Super Bowl. But I really think that will play into the advantage of Tampa Bay. In terms of Brady versus Mahomes, he's 2-2 all time. He has lost the last two you mentioned, week 12 of this season. It was a hard-fought game. Tampa came away from that game 7-5. They were on the verge of not making the playoffs, and I think a lot of people, Bruce Arians included, would have been on a hot seat when you consider all the weapons they brought in, whether that be Brady, Gronkowski, Fournette, and they were on the cusp of not making the playoffs. But since that loss to Kansas City, they've been the hottest team in the league, 8 straight wins. And I think another point to consider is the fact that it is really hard to beat a team multiple times in one season. We saw twice in the regular season the New Orleans Saints, for lack of a better term, obliterated Tampa Bay. And I think when they took off against each other in the divisional round, not many people gave Tampa Bay a chance given what they had seen in the regular season. Tampa Bay came out into New Orleans in a home playoff game for New Orleans and took care of business. So I really think that it'll be hard for Mahomes to win 2 times, let alone against Tampa Bay, but the fact that he would have to win 2 times in Tampa Bay in one season, I like to give Tampa Bay an edge there as well. I mentioned the 8 consecutive wins. It should be noted that in their 3 playoff victories, they were all road victories. Tampa Bay wasn't able to claim the division from New Orleans, so they had to play at Washington, at New Orleans, and at Green Bay, facing quarterbacks such as Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers. To be able to go into their 3 straight weeks, now I know Washington didn't have fans at their game. New Orleans and Green Bay did, and to win 3 straight road games like that is very, very impressive. In terms of this being Brady's first season in Tampa Bay, came on his own terms, decided he wanted a new challenge after 2 decades in New England. And for whatever reason, it didn't seem like people were giving him the benefit of the doubt. I recall reading projections at the start of the year, myself included, that said they were no better than a 10-6 team that is probably a first-round exit. He gets, in himself coming to Tampa Bay, he gets Gronkowski to come out of retirement. He gets Antonio Brown, who's been battling legal troubles. He couldn't be handled by the Steelers. He couldn't be handled by the Raiders. And he couldn't be handled by the Patriots and Bill Belichick. But somehow, some way, Tom Brady brings him into Tampa Bay, gets him under control, and he's been one of their most productive offensive weapons during the second half of the season, in which they've won 8 straight games. So I just find it very interesting that Brady found a way to make those guys fit after they had been out of the league for multiple years, had been through some adversity, whether that was injuries, retirement, legal troubles. It's just really impressive. And then you counter that with the fact that Tampa had not made the playoffs since 2007. And for Brady to come down first year, roll them all the way to the Super Bowl, I think that's really impressive. So regardless of what happens, win or loss, I think everyone ought to respect Tom Brady after this. I saw a joke, I won't get out of my mind, that he spent 20 years in the AFC, and in his first season in the NFC, he wins an NFC title. Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers have each only won one NFC title, and they've spent their entire careers, Brees aside, from a couple of years with the Chargers in the NFC. So I think we really owe it to Tom Brady a lot of respect, as he has revolutionized the game of football. Now, Camden, I know you want to take a different approach with Mahomes and the Chiefs, and go for it.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady has obviously proven his greatness with 10 Super Bowl appearances here, and like you said, he's kind of been like the paved way for the almost the GOAT conversation at quarterback. But I think right on the other side, you're seeing the guy who's possibly going to take his spot there in a couple of years in Patrick Mahomes. I think obviously the big thing about this game that makes this so anticipated is kind of that matchup between Mahomes and Brady, that possible future GOAT conversation, with what we're seeing so far from Mahomes early. And then obviously what we've seen from Brady throughout his career. And I think the big thing with that is, just the different play styles with, how Brady was much more strategic in New England, and how he scored and moved the ball to, different from Mahomes, where it's a lot more flashy, it's a lot more deep down the field. And I think that's a lot of thanks to the offense that the Chiefs have that is gonna absolutely help them excel in this game. And I think this game is going to absolutely be a very high scoring game with 2 very electric offenses like you described in the Bucs, and then what the Chiefs have on the other side with with the big one being Tyreek Hill, and with how you have to play Tyreek Hill is you have to completely form your defense around covering Tyreek Hill. As you know, if you just want to run simple man packages, that's not possible with Tyreek Hill, because you can't leave him in man coverage with one other guy with no safety over top. It's not going to end well, as we saw in the Saints game where he took it deep twice pretty early, and made them completely change their defense. And then you have Travis Kelce, who is revolutionizing the tight end position, and it not being just a red zone target and a blocking thing. It's more of a every route receiver at this point, with the way Travis Kelce is changing the game with that. So, obviously the Chiefs offense has so many weapons. I think the only thing that's going to semi hold them back is the lack of a dominant run game. I think obviously Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell are going to be able to semi get the ball moving, but obviously with how the Chiefs run their offense, it's going to be a lot of passing, and I think that the Bucs are going to struggle covering that, which we've seen the Bucs defense be pretty decent here out of late deeper into the playoffs, but definitely we've seen them be shaky here throughout the season. So I think Mahomes is definitely going to take advantage of a Buccaneers defense that tends to make some simple mistakes in the secondary. And I think on the defensive side of the ball as well, the Chiefs are going to be able to get pressure on Brady. That's going to be able to give him problems, as we've seen with Tom Brady and the new Bruce Arians offense that he's in. It's a lot different than what he was in with Belichick for how many years. I think that's why it was such a shaky conversation with, if Brady was a right fit in Tampa Bay right in the beginning, with how the Bruce Arians offense was a lot different, with a lot more air outs and a lot more with the ball deeper in the air, and not so much dump offs and strategically running the ball. So I think if the Chiefs can get Brady out of his normal playoff rhythm, where he's going to try to control the clock and make sure he can beat you mentally, I think if the Chiefs can cause him trouble and make him throw 3 interceptions like he did against Green Bay in last week, I think you give the ball to the Chiefs offense 3 extra times. I think that's just going to be too much to overcome. But I do agree that this being in Raymond James is going to be obviously a disadvantage for the Chiefs, but I don't think that it'll be too much for them to overcome. And obviously Mahomes is still dealing with a little bit of injury with the turf toe, but he did say this week that he's 100% and he's fully ready to go. So I fully expect this game to be kind of college football like, with very much high scoring and very little defense, but it'll be exciting for the fans. Obviously this is a hugely anticipated Super Bowl, just based on the quarterback battle and what's on both sides of the ball, and the historical implications that it has possibly for years down the road. So Alex, I knew you were going around campus trying to get a sense of what the Duquesne student body was thinking about this Super Bowl matchup currently. So what did you find out from
Yeah, so basically I found it to be kind of even. Even in between those from Pittsburgh and Buffalo, those of rivals of Tom Brady, I mean, half of them seemed like they wanted Tom Brady to win, and some wanted to have Kansas City win. I mean, you look at it in the way of the GOAT versus the next GOAT, and then it's kind of based off of, asking who's going to be the Super Bowl MVP, and like 95% of them set either Brady or Mahomes, and then probably the other 5 said a combination of Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Even one person said Gronkowski. And even one person even said Tyrann Mathieu would get a pick 6 on Tom Brady to end the quarter. So very bold predictions overall, and it was basically it was even, but in the same way it was kind of like, you had 5 people in a row saying, okay, Kansas City's going to win, and then you had another group of 5 that's going to say Tampa Bay is going to win. And that's what I really enjoyed about seeing all these kids who are interested in the Super Bowl, who are taking a big interest in the older generation of Brady and the newer generation of Mahomes. And also another big question that was popped up was what color Gatorade was going to be used to pour on the winning head coach. So going on campus and taking a look at the non-sports broadcasters' point of views, it was a great experience to get to know what their opinions of Super Bowl 55 was going to be. This is the most anticipated Super Bowl that we've had in years, like Luke and Brentaro have said. It was fun.
Hey everyone, my name's Alayna and today we're hitting the bluff and finding out who your Duquesne Dukes think is going to take home the Super Bowl this weekend. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the Kansas City Chiefs?
Chiefs.
I have the Chiefs. Who do you guys have for the MVP of the game? Whoever the quarterback is.
To be honest with you, I think it's going to be Tom Brady. Like, I know everybody hates to hear it. No one wants to talk about it. But at the end of the day, this guy's phenomenal. Look at how he took the Patriots, and then he comes over to a team that, like, basically is an underdog from what a lot of us would think about. And then he's bringing them to yet again another Super Bowl.
No, I think the Chiefs have the edge. I do love Tom Brady, but they're getting Edwards-Helaire back for this game. They have a lot of healthy running backs. They can obviously run the play action. And Mahomes has such great athleticism. I think they're really built for this game, and I think
They're built different.
And I think the fact that it's in Tampa honestly might give the Chiefs a bit of an edge.
And who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I hope Kansas City.
Kansas City, she likes Mahomes.
The Buccaneers.
And the Buccaneers, she likes Tom Brady. Jeremy, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this weekend?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Tom Brady and the Bucs.
You like Tom Brady?
I was a Buffalo fan growing up.
And I see we got a Buffalo Bills fan here and a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I'm very sorry for how your season's ended, but the Super Bowl is upon us. Who do you think will win the Super Bowl, the Chiefs or the Buccaneers?
I'm hoping for Tom Brady to carry the Buccaneers.
I want Tom Brady to get a 7.
So you think is going to win the Super Bowl this upcoming weekend?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
And why do you think the Chiefs will win?
Patrick Mahomes is better than Tom Brady.
But it's a team.
Okay.
Don't quote me on
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this weekend?
I think it's going to be the Chiefs.
And do you have the MVP for the game?
You know, I gotta take, as much as I want to say the Chiefs, I gotta take Tom Brady and the Bucs.
You trust the old man Tom Brady,
I
huh?
trust the old man.
What do you think he's going to do that Mahomes can't do this weekend?
I think he just has, you know, all the experience in the world.
All right, you've heard it from your fellow Dukes. There's a lot of different opinions about who is going to win the Super Bowl. Only time will tell who will be right. Stay tuned this Sunday for the Super Bowl. It's going to be a matchup you don't want to miss.
And Luke, if you wanted to make a Super Bowl prediction on who's going to win and the MVP and what the score's going to be.
For sure. You guys talked about what campus thinks. I might as well start it off. I did my bid on Tom Brady, so I'm going to stick with that. Like a last-second field goal from Ryan Suckup. We talk about drama. There's never been more drama than that. I'm going 37-34 Tampa Bay, Brady MVP.
Okay. I am going to go 40-34 Kansas City. I just think that Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for over 450 yards in this Super Bowl. I think Tyreek Hill is going to have another monster game with over 200 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. I also think that Travis Kelce is going to have another monster game like he always does. I'm going to give the Super Bowl MVP to Tyreek Hill on this one. And I think Mahomes is going to throw a game-winning touchdown with under 30 seconds left.
I think for Tom Brady, he has a lot to prove in this game, though. Like, you just think about how much greatness he would have if he was able to do it, especially after 20 years in New England. Just go down to Tampa Bay the first year and win a Super Bowl. That would be incredible. And you know that he's thinking about, if I'm able to win number 7, like, man, like, this is not only just the best quarterback in professional football history, not only the best football player in NFL history, we're talking about maybe one of the best athletes in the world, even in the country. For Tampa Bay in the secondary that's really been explosive this year is Antoine Winfield Jr. like the amount of turnovers he has caused throughout the whole season, he's just a beast. And obviously his dad was pretty good when he played for like Minnesota and all those other teams though. But I think his son, Antoine Winfield Jr., can even be a better player than his dad.
I'm gonna round it out. I'm gonna tie us up. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I think, like I said earlier, that offense is just gonna be too much for Brady to overcome, and I think Kansas City's defense is gonna make Brady make a mistake or two, get an interception, and try to take over the game. But I still think, obviously, with it being experience, Brady's been there before. He's obviously gonna keep it a game. But I think with experience, the Chiefs were there last year as well. Most of them know what it's like to be here. A lot of the Buccaneers players, other than Brady, don't really have this deep playoff and Super Bowl experience. So I think that's going to also be a factor to help the Chiefs overcome the Buccaneers. And I think Mahomes is probably going to throw for upwards of 400 yards in this game. And I think you're going to see probably around 800 yards combined from both quarterbacks. So I'm going to go with 45-38 Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes is going to take home the MVP for the Super Bowl this year.
So whether it was amongst us four or the entire campus as a whole, it looks like the consensus is pretty split, which that means it should be a great game, as Super Bowls typically are. We just want to take a moment to thank you for following along with us here at the Press Box all season long. We hope you enjoyed our commentary, our predictions, even though many of them probably weren't right. Thank you for your time. That's all the time we have today. Thanks. Enjoy the game.